Hi guys, it's Jaden, and today we're going to talk about chapters 52 to 64 in When the Sea Turned to Silver by Grace Lin. It's an amazing book, and Grace Lin has also written lots of other books, and When the Sea Turned to Silver is the third book of the series, and the other two books are Where the Mountain Meets the Moon and Starry River of Sky. To really understand this, then you'll have to read the other two, but they aren't chronologically ordered. They're just like here and there, so you really have to put them together, the puzzle pieces, and it's pretty hard, let me tell you that. Okay, so chapter 52. So now, what I really wanted to ask you was, what do you think about this underwater estate? Would you like to live here, or do you think it's a little too, or do you like land better than underwater here? But let's say that you can get $1 million estate on land for free, but you can get $1 billion estate underwater for free. What would you do? I think that I would still do above, because $1 million estate, it wouldn't be a bad place to live, even though $1 billion estate would be pretty cool. Okay, but anyway, so another thing I wanted to ask you about was the shrimp guards. Let's say that there are 2 shrimp guards guarding you. Do you think do you think that those shrimp guards would actually offer any protection, or do you think they would just be like shrimp? And also, what did you think about the ability to, for sea creatures and just animals who live in the sea, and just animals that live in the water, to become other things, right? Like Joy to the Heart, he can become a man. Same with the shrimp. What do you think about this? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair that it's unfair that we can't do that? Or do you think that you don't really care about it? Or do you think it's perfectly fair, since we are at least humans and we still live in civilization and they do not? What do you think about this? Do you think it's fair or not here? Okay, now if so many people were looking at you, then how would you feel? Would you feel excited and be like, "Hi guys," or would you be like, "Hi"? How would you be like? Or would you just be neutral and be like, "Hi"? How would you say hi here? And if you had been Pin May, how would you have felt? And I want you to use a simile. Basically, how you do that is like you say, if I was Pin May, I would be like, when I was telling the story, I'd be like, I felt like a lion was about to jump at me, which meant really scared, nervous, sort of like that. Okay, now, what do you think about the Sea King? What do you think made his gaze so intriguing here? And also, how would you describe the Sea King with just one word? How would you describe him? I think that I would call him, he is powerful, but I wouldn't call him powerful, sort of, I guess impressive maybe? Yeah, that's one. Or maybe, maybe some powerful. So things like that, yeah. Now we see about Yishen, right? Yishen is acting strange, and Pin May doesn't know what's going on, right? But the Sea King sort of knows who Yishen is, right? What do you think's going on here? And do you think that And what do you think that Yishan is hiding from Pin Mei? In your life, has any people like hidden things from you? Well, not really. The only things people have hidden from me are like birthday presents, Christmas presents, or surprises, but that's all. And those kinds of, those kinds of hiding is, if you actually tell everybody, that would spoil the surprise. So I'm glad they hid it from me, but I mean like sort of like how like this book is going on here, Okay, now, and then yesterday's visitor we learned was a snake. Where did you see a snake before, and immediately, where did you think that the snake had come from? Okay. And then, chapter 653, in Pin Mei's opinion, I think that she thought Yishan is acting weirder than ever. And to Pin Mei, he would be, right? So, really, Yishan is talking to the snake, right? So, what are you sort of guessing now that Yishan is here? Because, for example, let's say, I don't know, but do you think that Yishan, in your opinion, do you think that he's been a little strange at times, and that Pin Mei still hasn't known like everything about him at times during the book, or do you think this is like the first time that Yishan really sort of shows his true colors now? Well, he was also talking a little to Lady Meng, and also he lived alone on top of the mountain. That was a little strange. And at times I think that he just acted a little weird, not big, but a little. Just that's it. Okay, now, so if you had been Pin Mei and Yishan was only talking about the black tortoise, how would you feel, Simile? And do you think that Yishan really cares about them all, because he sort of is focusing on the black tortoise? What do you think about that too? Now, I also wanted to ask you about newest tier, the luminous stone, right? Do you think that a tier could become the moon here? And do you like that? Just, myth, I guess? Or do you like the scientific truth, which is, I really do not know why the moon was formed. I know everything about it, but not why. So, yeah. I'm gonna have to search that. Okay. But anyway, and then the Sea King said, the newest tier is in my kingdom, at least partly, right? And when you heard that, how did you feel? Like, how did your heart react? Were you like, was your heart beating normal, or like did it like jump up? Well, mine jumped up. And how do you think that Pin Mei's heart reacted to this? And how do you think that Pin Mei was feeling? This time, just use one word to describe it, okay? And now since we're gonna know, what was your prediction on what the luminous stone that lights the night was? Okay? And then now to chapter 54. So now, I also wanted to ask you about, the garden, right? The Sea King's garden. What did you think about the Sea King's garden? Did you think it was a little creepy, or did you think it was beautiful? Well, in my garden here, it's pretty good. There's lots of trees, and then lots of plants too. And also these flowers grow, and they're really beautiful. We didn't even plant them, but they just came out, and so they're really beautiful. Yeah, and we also have lots of roses, peach tree, flowers. So yeah, I think that is very good. Yeah, or an orange tree too. So my garden is pretty good. But do you think that you would like, if you could exchange, do you think that you would keep your garden, or do you think that you would exchange it for the Sea King's garden here? Okay, now, anyway, so finally they reached a bridge, right? So I wanted to ask you, do you think that there should be where do you think that they are right now? I mean, like, aren't they supposed to be under the sea? Then why are they on a bridge, and under them there's like some kind of lake or sea? What do you think is going on here? Like, were you confused here? Or did you just, like, get everything? You were like, okay, so, like, they're under the sea, but not really under the sea. Sort of, like, right next to it, I don't know. And then they're now crossing a bridge to somewhere else. Or maybe under the sea, there's, like, an underwater lake. That sort of makes sense, but not to me. Not really. Okay. And then, the luminous stone that lights the night is the moon. Were you predicting that? Well, here's the thing. I actually was like, from the 3rd chapter, I was like, oh yeah, it has to be the moon. But, yeah, so I wanted to ask you, what did you think that the stars and moon was doing underwater, or at least on the sea, in the sea, right? Okay, so now here's the thing, so like everything, the sea and the sky, they connect here. What do you think about this theory? And do you sort of believe it, or do you still believe in like scientific terms? Like, and I have a question, okay? Do you believe in mythology and stuff, or do you believe in science? Science or mythology? What do you think is more important here? Or do you think that both are very important? I think that both are very important. Science helps us know what is actually going on. But mythology is fun listening to the stories, right? And we can make new stories. And mythology is just fun to think what the ancient people thought. Yeah, it's just fun and amazing. I like it. Okay. Then, Yishen said that he was going to take the moon, right? Do you think, first of all, I wanted to ask you, if you had been Yishen or Pinmei, whoever, would you have tried to take the moon? Why or why not here? And do you think that is fair if Yishen took the moon away? And also, I wanted to ask you about Yishen's abilities, right? And how he got the moon. Who do you think that he is? Have you ever heard of a red string here? I have a guess, but I'm not going to tell you, of course, but I have a guess, and since I read the book, I know it's right. But anyway, yeah. Okay, now, when Yishen began to pull up the moon, why do you think that it was fair or not fair here? And if somebody had taken the moon out of the sky, well, in the sky there's nothing, but there's actually, I can't even see the sun because it's cloudy. But anyway, so I mean, like in the sky, if somebody suddenly pulled out the moon, how would you feel about that? Not so very good, right? So what do you think that a theme there would be? A theme that you could learn from here? And if you had been the Sea King, how would you have reacted? Would you be like, oh yeah, just take the moon? Or would you be angry and would you be like, no? How would you be like here? Okay. Now, also, another thing I wanted to also ask you about was, how do you think that they're going to get a Ma if there isn't any luminous stone? What's your prediction here? Now, chapter 57. Okay. But anyway, if you have been Pinmei and you learned that, you just heard that, confirming your worst fears, how would you feel? Metaphor, works same as a simile, but you can also use a simile. But anyway, so now another thing I wanted to ask you was, anyway, there was the paper of answers, right? And they could use the paper of answers. If you had been Yishen or Pinmei, then what question would you have asked a paper of answers? I would have asked, how can we defeat the Emperor? Because even though Ma is important, we also need to think about defeating the Emperor. And then if we defeat the Emperor, that means that Ma is free because the Emperor isn't there, right? And that also might mean, other things. So I think that how to defeat the Emperor is a win-win. But anyway, Yishen said, how has the Emperor catch the black tortoise of the winter? If you had been Pinmei, and that was not the question you had asked for, how would you feel here? And yeah, simile, please. And why do you think that Yi Shen asked that instead of like defeating the emperor or maybe saving Ma? Why do you think that he chose that here? Now, another thing is, you know, I also want to talk about something, okay? And it's this. So I'm gonna read some of the book. It's this. The Sea King stepped forward. Just a paper now? He asked. Not a book anymore? So he was talking about the paper of answers here. So maybe it was a book before, right? Where do you think that this page came from? And if you read the other books, you might be like, oh yeah, I know this. Oh yeah, okay. But anyway, so if you have been Yi Shen, I have a question. Would you have done that, or would you have asked about the emperor and how to defeat the emperor? And also, did you ever think about the emperor getting the Black Tortoise of the Winter? And how do you think that the emperor managed to get the Black Tortoise of the Winter? Because you know that the Black Tortoise of the Winter, you can't just stroll in, grab the Black Tortoise of the Winter and get back out, right? You have to like fight. And so yeah, I was really confused. But anyway, so suddenly we get the answer, and the Sea King was so surprised, you know? The emperor got the Black Tortoise with the iron rod, right? So I have a question. What did you think, like the iron rod and the tortoise, they're probably really important things, right? How do you think that the emperor even got a hold of those things? And how do you think that the emperor with the iron rod got the Black Tortoise of the Winter? I just couldn't say it. I don't know why. I just forgot the name. Okay. But anyway, chapter 60, okay? Now, so just from you know that the Black Tortoise of the Winter is powerful here, right? But I wanted to ask you, how powerful do you think that the iron rod would be that even the Black Tortoise of the Winter couldn't get through? How powerful? And do you think that you would be able to fight that thing? Also, now there are 2 guards, right? And so the king called 2 guards, and the 2 guards were going to check, you know, upon everything, upon the safe. And did you have a feeling that the iron rod would be gone, or did you have the feeling that maybe the paper of answers was wrong for this time? This time he was wrong. The paper of answers, I mean. Okay, now I also wanted to. Okay, so I'm gonna try to not say I also want to ask you. I'm just gonna say, okay, question. So, do you think that the Sea King here, do you think that they'll be able to retrieve the iron rod and the Black Tortoise of the Winter? And I'm pretty sure they will be, right? So now, suddenly the king turned into a dragon. Have you ever had, I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of the Sea King in Chinese mythology that turns into a dragon? I actually have but I read a book, and it was about a monkey king, you know, went into underwater at time, and that time, but still underwater in that story, the Sea King was called the Dragon Sea King, or maybe just the Dragon King. Yeah, and so but I do know about it because the Dragon King ruled under the sea in like a palace, like in the book. So yeah. Now, okay, and if you had been Pinmei, would you have, you know, climbed onto the dragon, or would you be like, no, I'll just take Baima, or would you be like, no, I'll just swim up, okay? I'm not gonna be on you. And now, we also see that Pinmei didn't take Yi Shen's hand when she climbed up. What do you think that this shows about how Pinmei and Yi Shen's relationship is going to right now? And do you think that, and if you had been Pinmei, would you have taken Yi Shen's hand, or would you be like so angry that you wouldn't even take it? Okay, now, chapter 1. Wait, what? 61. Okay, I just made that random mistake. But anyway, so now we're going to a mall, right? And if you had been a mall, would you have been worried about Pinmei and Yishen, or would you be like, oh, I know that Pinmei and Yishen are going to die? How would you feel? Okay, now there was also a story of magic paintbrush. Do you like painting? I like to paint, well, not paint, but draw. I'm better at drawing than painting, but yeah, I really like it. And so now I was pretty excited. So actually, Painter Chen, I've heard of Painter Chen in actually, what was it? I've heard of Painter Chen in Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. Check that book out, okay? And if you have, you probably know. Hint. Actually, no, I'm not gonna give you any hint, okay? Yeah, it's probably gonna tell in the story. Now, so it's gonna be a long if we just keep on going with the story, okay? So I just wanted to ask you a few main questions, okay? So first of all, how did you like that story from a scale to 1 to 10? It was 10 for me. And in the end, when Painter Chen jumped right into the painting, right? What do you think will happen to Painter Chen? And do you think that the painting, where do you think it was and if it was somewhere that didn't exist, then where do you think that Painter Chen will end up, or do you think it's still gonna be in the sea? What do you think? And like after the painting, after the painting, we don't really the painting only shows a little bit. After that, what do you think lies after that? Okay, and do you think that the magic paintbrush story is very realistic or not? And also, I wanted to ask you, do you think that if you had been Liang, you would have, used the magic paintbrush for everything? Or do you think that you would only use it on special occasions? And if you had been Liang, would you have given out stuff to everybody, or would you have only, kept it to yourself? But I think that I would give out stuff for everybody because there's still plenty for me. I could make diamonds and jewels and gold and jewels and gold and jewels and gold and jewels and gold. And then I could still give and then after that, maybe there's a parade, and then I could throw gold out into the streets. And then, throw jewels out into the streets. And if anybody wins the lottery, they also get a pound of diamonds. Something like that. But but that's not really realistic, right? Okay, now, do you think that Painter, Magistrate Tiger, right? Well, not Magistrate Tiger, sorry, the Magistrate, I just got mixed up here. But anyway, the Magistrate, when he dotted in the eyes and the dragon became real, right? Do you think that it was Painter Chen's fault, or do you think that it was the Magistrate's fault? And do you think that the guards of the Magistrate had the right to kill Painter Chen here or not? Okay, and also, what do you think that Painter Chen could do to prevent from what is happening? My suggestion, just get another brush. I mean, of course, the magic paintbrush, it can always be used, but you can also get just other brushes and you can make masterpieces. So I don't know why Painter Chen didn't think about that. Now, chapter 62. And then when they got back up to the surface, something was happening, right? What did you think that something was? And did you think that was going to be an important part of the story? And why or why not? Okay, so now these people they were gossiping, right? And then this woman began to do, and then they all talked about this woman at the Great Wall, right? And so after a while, who did you think that this woman was going to be? Lady Meng, right? And what do you think about this? About Lady Meng's story. And Lady Meng is doing lots of incredible stuff in the gossiping, right? So now, who do you think that she is, really? Because she does mussels and sparrows, she knows all that. So who do you think that she really is now here? Okay, now suddenly there was lots of people, right? And then the emperor was right next to Lady Meng, right? And so you know about how Lady Meng, the emperor agreed to bury Lady Meng's husband in turn for Lady Meng's Lady Meng's marriage, right? Do you think that's a very fair trade here? And also, were you surprised that Lady Meng agreed to marry the emperor? And if you had been Lady Meng, would you have done that or not? Okay, now also, finally, but Lady Meng refused in the end. What did you feel about that, Simile? And if you had been Lady Meng, how would you have, if the emperor wanted to marry you, how would you have reacted? I would just be like, are you kidding me? There's no way I'm gonna do that. And then, if the emperor tries to attack me, I'll just be like, bye-bye, and just jump into the water. And after that, I'll pop up a few and then after that, I'll pop up a few inches from where I was. And when the emperor tries to get me, I'll go here and there and there. Okay, so now when Yishen pulls Pinmei over, under the water, under the ice, they see this shadow of a woman, and she had a tail of a fish. So now, who do you think that this woman was? And well, we sort of guessed, Lady Meng, right? And who do you think that Lady Meng truly is here? We really find out, yeah, in an indirect way. Who do you think that Lady Meng really is? Okay, chapter 64. Now we're going to the Black Tortoise of the Winter, okay? And now that we know that the Black Tortoise of the Winter was captured by the Iron Bar, the Emperor used that, where do you think that the Black Tortoise of the Winter is? And how do you think that he's been held down here? Okay, now the Black Tortoise of the Winter doesn't really want to get free as much as he just wants to go home, right? What's a very good theme that you can learn here? I think that one thing will be, revenge doesn't always have to be the answer. Okay, that's what I learned, but what's yours? Okay, now, if you have been the Black Tortoise of the Winter, would you have thought the same thing, or would you have wanted a little bit of revenge before you went? Okay, now, how do you think that home is important to a person? Because the Black Tortoise of the Winter wants to go home, right? Yeah, so how do you think that home is important to a person? And do you think that traveling around is good for a person, or do you think that home is better? Well, I really like traveling, and I wouldn't mind traveling around, but I think that there should be a home, like a central home, and you should return to it at least every month or so, even if it was for only a week, because a home, that's where you keep your stuff, and so it's just really important. It's sort of your roots are there. Okay guys, but anyway, we finished these chapters, so I really hope that you enjoyed it, okay? And so, a few last questions. Number one, what was your favorite character? Okay, we always have to keep track. Mine, I think it was Yishen here. Yeah, I like Yishen. What's your least favorite character? Wow, that's really hard, but I think that it will be the Emperor. Okay, now, what was your favorite part in the chapters that we just reviewed? Well, Yishen getting the moon out. I thought that was really interesting. And what was your favorite part in the whole book that we've read so far? I really can't decide there. I'm gonna have to think about that. Okay, how do you like the book? Always fun to monitor. Just a quick question here. And finally, what do you think is going to happen next to Yishen and Pinmei? What do you think they're gonna do? And do you think that the Black Tortoise of the Winter will have his wish by getting back home? Well guys, that's for next time, and then we're gonna finish the book. Okay, so just keep on reading, finish the book, and have a great rest of your day.